Are you ready to completely shift your mindset? These 7 Stoic quotes hold the key to transforming your perspective and bringing balance, resilience, and inner peace to your life. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into the transformative wisdom of Stoicism with 7 Stoic quotes to completely shift your mindset. Whether you're looking to overcome personal challenges, boost your motivation, or simply seek more inner peace, these powerful quotes from Stoic philosophers will guide you to a more fulfilled life. Stick around to the end as we break down each quote and explore how you can apply them to modern life. We live in a world where everything is moving at a lightning-fast pace. Whether it's juggling work deadlines, managing personal relationships, or keeping up with the constant barrage of news and social media, it often feels like we're in a relentless race that we can never win. With so many external pressures, it's no surprise that feelings of anxiety, frustration, and lack of control are becoming more common. But what if these feelings, this overwhelming sense of being out of control, stem from focusing on the wrong things? Many of us spend the majority of our time and energy worrying about things we simply can't control. It could be the outcome of a project at work, the opinions of others, or events on the world stage that we have no direct influence over. When we focus so much on these uncontrollable factors, we set ourselves up for disappointment and stress. The more we try to control the uncontrollable, the more we feel powerless, frustrated, and in many cases hopeless. Let's break this down. Think about your day-to-day life. How many times have you caught yourself worrying about things like whether someone likes you, whether your boss is happy with your work, or whether your future is secure? These concerns, while understandable, represent areas of life that are often beyond your direct control. What happens when you focus too much on these things? You end up feeling anxious, stressed, and perhaps even paralyzed by fear. For example, imagine you have a big presentation coming up at work. Naturally, you want it to go well. You might start obsessing over every little detail, replaying scenarios in your head where things go wrong, worrying about whether your colleagues will be impressed or if you'll stumble over your words. But here's the truth: you can prepare as much as possible, but the outcome isn't entirely in your hands. Perhaps the technology will malfunction, or a key decision maker won't be paying attention, or maybe you'll simply have an off day. While you can control your preparation, the actual outcome depends on many factors beyond your control. Yet, we often tie our sense of success or failure to these outcomes, making ourselves feel anxious or unworthy when things don't go perfectly. Another common example comes from relationships. We've all experienced moments of doubt, worrying about what others think of us or how we're perceived by family, friends, or colleagues. The desire for approval can lead us to say and do things that aren't in line with our true selves, all in the hope of gaining validation from others. But here's the hard truth: you cannot control how others feel about you. People's opinions are shaped by their own biases, experiences, and perceptions, many of which have nothing to do with you, and yet we expend enormous amounts of mental and emotional energy trying to win the approval of others, allowing their opinions to dictate our self-worth. This constant attempt to control the uncontrollable doesn't just affect our mental and emotional well-being, it often leads to burnout. When we stretch ourselves thin trying to manage every little aspect of our lives, we quickly exhaust our mental resources. We begin to feel disconnected from ourselves, as if we're just going through the motions. The stress accumulates, leading to feelings of overwhelm and eventually burnout. Burnout isn't just about working too much, it's about feeling like no matter how hard you try, you're not making progress. It's that sense of being stuck on a treadmill, running endlessly but never getting anywhere. When we focus on external results and other people's expectations, we lose touch with what truly matters to us. Our passions fade into the background as we prioritize other people's desires or societal standards of success. Over time, this leads to a deep sense of unfulfillment. We start questioning our purpose, wondering if this is all life has to offer. We lose sight of who we are and what we truly want out of life. This leads to a pervasive feeling of disconnection, not just from others, but from ourselves. Have you ever felt like you're living someone else's life? Perhaps you've built a career that looks great on paper but doesn't feel fulfilling, or maybe you've fallen into a routine that's comfortable but leaves you feeling empty at the end of the day. This sense of being lost often stems from focusing on external markers of success, such as promotions, accolades, or social validation, instead of tuning into what truly resonates with our values and desires. Social media and the digital age only amplify these challenges. We're constantly bombarded with images of other people's lives, their successes, their perfect vacations, their seemingly flawless relationships. This creates a false sense of comparison where we measure our lives against curated highlight reels. The more we compare, the more we feel inadequate. This endless loop of comparison leads us to chase external validation even more, further disconnecting us from our true selves. In a way, we become trapped in a cycle of seeking approval and chasing outcomes that will never fully satisfy us. The problem here is simple. When we focus on things outside of our control, we give away our power. We make our happiness and peace of mind dependent on circumstances, people, and events that are beyond our influence. It's like being on a ship in a storm, desperately trying to control the wind and the waves instead of adjusting our sails. So what's the alternative? The Stoics teach us that the solution lies in focusing on what we can control: our thoughts, our actions, and our mindset. While we cannot control the external world, we can control how we respond to it. This is the core message of Stoicism, and one that has the power to completely shift your mindset. By letting go of the need to control everything around us and instead focusing on managing our own minds, we free ourselves from unnecessary stress and frustration. We can approach life's challenges with a calm, centered perspective, knowing that while we can't always control the outcome, we can control how we show up. In summary, the main challenge we face is the tendency to focus on external events, people's opinions, and outcomes we cannot control. This mindset leads to feelings of stress, anxiety, and burnout. By shifting our focus inward and concentrating on what we can control, our mindset, our actions, and our reactions, we can reclaim our sense of power, reduce stress, and find more fulfillment in our lives. This is the mindset shift that Stoicism offers. And these 7 quotes will help you make that transformation. Let's begin by exploring these 7 Stoic quotes and the valuable lessons they offer. 1. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. This quote is foundational to Stoicism. The Stoics teach us that our true power lies in controlling our mind and reactions, not the external world. This mindset shift can have a profound effect on how we approach stress, setbacks, or uncertainty. Instead of fixating on things you can't control, focus on your thoughts and responses. Take a moment to reflect on your day-to-day stresses, work issues, relationship problems, or financial pressures. What if you accepted that these external factors will happen regardless of how much you worry? By focusing inward, you can maintain peace regardless of the chaos around you. 2. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca. How often do we worry about the worst-case scenario? Seneca reminds us that much of our suffering comes from our imagination, not actual events. By living in the present and recognizing that most of our fears are unfounded, we can free ourselves from unnecessary anxiety. Try to catch yourself the next time you start worrying about something that hasn't happened. Ask yourself, is this real, or am I creating unnecessary suffering in my mind? 3. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus. Epictetus emphasizes the importance of knowing who you are and acting with purpose. This quote speaks to the power of self-discipline and intentional living. When we clarify our values and set clear goals, our actions naturally align with our greater purpose. What do you truly want to achieve in life? Take some time to reflect on your values and start setting goals that resonate with them. Living intentionally is a core Stoic practice. 4. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Marcus Aurelius. This quote reminds us that life is fleeting and the real tragedy is not death, but the failure to live fully. Often we postpone happiness, waiting for the perfect moment. Marcus urges us to start living today, appreciating each moment and taking action on the things that matter most. Think about areas of your life where you've been holding back. What's stopping you from fully embracing life and taking action today? 5. Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Seneca. In this quote, Seneca points out that adversity is not something to be avoided, but embraced. Challenges provide opportunities for growth, just as physical exercise strengthens the body. By viewing obstacles as lessons, we can approach them with curiosity and resilience. Consider how past difficulties have shaped you. Instead of avoiding challenges, embrace them as opportunities to build your mental strength. 6. He who fears death will never do anything worth of a man who is alive. Seneca. Here, Seneca is telling us that fear of the inevitable, whether it's failure, rejection, or even death, can paralyze us from taking meaningful action. Stoicism teaches us to accept mortality and uncertainty so that we can live more courageously and fully. By coming to terms with your fears, especially those that are inevitable, you can start making decisions that align with what you truly want out of life, without hesitation. 7. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. Ultimately, the quality of our thoughts determines the quality of our life. Negative thinking leads to negative experiences, while cultivating positive, rational, and constructive thoughts leads to greater happiness. Take note of your internal dialogue throughout the day. If you find yourself caught in a spiral of negative thinking, pause and redirect your thoughts to something more productive. Practicing this regularly will elevate your mental well-being. The key insight from Stoicism, the idea that you should focus on what you can control, is incredibly powerful. This one shift in mindset holds the potential to transform not just how you face daily challenges, but how you approach life as a whole. Let's dive deeper into why this Stoic principle is so crucial and how applying it can bring peace, clarity, and empowerment to your life. To understand the impact of this mindset, we first need to break down what it means to focus on what you can control. At its core, this Stoic teaching revolves around separating things into two categories: what is within your control and what is outside of it. According to Stoicism, the only things fully within your control are your own thoughts, actions, and reactions. Everything else, external events, the actions of others, circumstances, even your health to some extent, are not fully under your control. When we fully embrace this truth, we can drastically reduce unnecessary stress and frustration. Why? Because so much of our suffering comes from trying to manage things that we have no real power over. Imagine being in a situation where things are not going your way. Perhaps at work you've been passed over for a promotion despite your best efforts, or maybe in your personal life, someone has let you down or failed to meet your expectations. The common reaction in such moments is to feel frustrated, disappointed, or even angry. You might feel that life is unfair, and you might dwell on how things should have been different. You might spend hours or even days replaying the situation in your head, asking yourself, what could I have done differently? Or why did this happen to me? But here's where the Stoic approach changes the game. Instead of focusing on the unfairness of the situation, Stoicism encourages you to ask a different question. What can I control in this moment? By shifting your attention away from external outcomes and other people's actions and focusing instead on your own responses, you regain your sense of power. In the case of the missed promotion, while you can't control the decision your employer made, you can control how you react. You could choose to be bitter and let the setback affect your performance. Or you could take the opportunity to reflect on areas where you might improve or consider if this is the right career path for you. Maybe it's time to seek out new opportunities, or perhaps it's a chance to strengthen your skills and demonstrate even more value in the future. This shift in mindset doesn't just apply to career challenges, it can be transformative in personal relationships too. Let's say a close friend or family member has hurt you. You might be tempted to hold on to resentment or try to change the way they behave. But no matter how much you wish someone would act differently, you can't control their actions. What you can control is how you respond. Will you continue to dwell on the hurt, or will you choose to accept the situation for what it is and decide what's best for your well-being? Maybe that means setting boundaries, or maybe it means forgiving and letting go. Either way, the choice is yours, and by focusing on that choice, you shift from being a passive victim of circumstance to an empowered agent of your own life. This mindset shift has deep psychological benefits. Studies in psychology show that people who adopt an internal locus of control, meaning they focus on what they have power over, tend to be more resilient, optimistic, and proactive. On the other hand, those with an external locus of control, who believe their fate is dictated by external forces, tend to experience higher levels of stress, anxiety, and helplessness. Stoicism, in essence, teaches us to cultivate that internal locus of control. reminding us that while we can't always dictate what happens, we can control how we navigate those events. The transformative power of this principle lies in its simplicity. Every day, life throws challenges our way, some big, some small, and every day we have a choice. Will we get caught up in trying to control the uncontrollable, or will we direct our focus inward toward what we can influence? This is where true strength comes from. The more you practice focusing on what you can control, the more you begin to build a resilient mindset. This resilience allows you to remain calm in the face of adversity, approach problems with clarity, and most importantly, maintain your inner peace regardless of external circumstances. Let's explore a real-world scenario. Imagine you've planned a big event, such as a wedding or a major work presentation. You've spent weeks preparing, coordinating details and ensuring everything is perfect, but on the day of the event, something goes wrong. Maybe the weather is bad, the technology fails, or a key guest doesn't show up. In a traditional mindset, you might feel crushed. After all, you've invested so much time and energy into this event, and now it's not going according to plan. You might feel embarrassed, angry, or disappointed. But again, ask yourself, what's within your control? The weather? The technology malfunction? No. What is within your control is how you handle the situation. You can choose to stay calm, adapt, and make the best of what you have, or you can allow the unexpected setback to ruin the entire experience for you. This Stoic practice not only reduces stress, but also allows you to approach life's ups and downs with a more flexible and creative mindset. When you're not rigidly attached to outcomes, you become more open to finding solutions. Instead of panicking when things go wrong, you maintain composure and look for ways to adapt to the new circumstances. In the case of the wedding or presentation, maybe you find a way to improvise or adjust the schedule, turning what could have been a disaster into a unique, memorable moment. By accepting that not everything is within your control, you free yourself from the emotional turmoil that comes with perfectionism and attachment to specific outcomes. Another key aspect of this Stoic principle is that it teaches us to let go of the need for external validation. So much of our stress comes from worrying about how others perceive us, whether we're liked, respected, or valued by the people around us. But the truth is, you can't control how others see you. You can only control your own actions and how authentically you present yourself to the world. By focusing on being the best version of yourself, regardless of external praise or criticism, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster of other people's opinions. This is especially liberating in today's world of social media, where constant comparison and seeking validation can lead to feelings of inadequacy. In sum, the Stoic principle of focusing on what you can control is a powerful antidote to much of the anxiety, frustration, and stress we experience in life. When you let go of trying to manage things outside of your power, you regain the freedom to focus on what really matters: your thoughts, your actions, and your personal growth. This mindset shift puts you back in the driver's seat of your life, giving you the tools to navigate any challenge with grace, resilience, and peace. By consistently practicing this, you'll notice a profound shift not only in how you respond to adversity, but also in the overall quality of your life. This is the true essence of Stoicism, and it's why this ancient philosophy remains so relevant in our modern world. To truly understand how Stoicism can shift your mindset and transform your life, let's explore two powerful stories, one from a well-known public figure and one from an ordinary person. These examples will illustrate how Stoicism has helped individuals overcome adversity, find peace, and thrive in both the public eye and in everyday life. Let's start with a familiar face, Tom Hiddleston, the actor best known for his role as Loki in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. While it may seem like actors have glamorous, worry-free lives, Tom has openly discussed the pressures and challenges that come with fame, particularly the intense scrutiny and high expectations from both the industry and fans. Like many in the public eye, he experienced significant stress from constantly being judged and the fear of not living up to people's perceptions of him. The relentless nature of Hollywood's demands, paired with the unpredictability of an acting career, can easily lead to burnout or anxiety. In an interview, Hiddleston spoke about how Stoicism, particularly the writings of Marcus Aurelius, helped him navigate these challenges. The Stoic concept that we cannot control the opinions of others, but we can control our own thoughts and actions, deeply resonated with him. By adopting this philosophy, Hiddleston began to shift his focus from external validation, what others thought of him, the success of his films, or even critical reviews, to internal validation. He learned to measure his worth by the effort and passion he put into his work, rather than by outcomes he couldn't control. For Hiddleston, reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius became a daily practice. He would reflect on the idea that true contentment comes not from external achievements or accolades, but from living in alignment with one's values. By focusing on doing his best in the moment and letting go of the results, Hiddleston found a sense of peace and purpose in his work. This shift in mindset didn't just help him manage the pressures of fame, it also made him more grounded, allowing him to enjoy his career without being consumed by the anxieties that come with public life. Now, let's move on to a story that hits closer to home, a story about an ordinary person named Daniel, a fictional yet relatable character whose journey could easily mirror the experiences of many of us. Daniel was a mid-level manager at a tech company, a role he had worked hard to achieve. On the surface, his life seemed successful. He had a stable job, a nice apartment, and a circle of friends. But beneath the surface, Daniel was constantly stressed and anxious. No matter how much he accomplished at work, he felt like it wasn't enough. His mind was always racing with thoughts about how he could do more, be better, and win the approval of his bosses and colleagues. Daniel's days were filled with long hours, and his evenings were consumed by worries about work. Even when he wasn't at the office, he found it impossible to switch off. His health began to suffer. He slept poorly, his diet became erratic, and his personal relationships started to deteriorate because he was so preoccupied with his career. One day, a friend noticed how overwhelmed Daniel was and recommended he try reading about Stoicism, particularly the teachings of Epictetus. Skeptical at first, Daniel picked up the discourses of Epictetus and was struck by a simple yet profound idea. The only things he could control were his own actions and mindset. Everything else, his boss's opinions, his colleagues' actions, and even the outcome of his projects, were outside his control. This was a revelation for Daniel. He realized that he had been spending the majority of his time worrying about things he couldn't change, like whether his boss liked him or if his hard work would be rewarded with a promotion. By focusing on these external factors, he had been neglecting his own well-being and peace of mind. Inspired by this new perspective, Daniel decided to make some changes. He started small by implementing a daily routine of reflection inspired by the Stoics. Every morning, he would take 10 minutes to meditate and remind himself of what was within his control, his actions, his effort, and his attitude. Throughout the day, whenever he felt overwhelmed or frustrated, he would pause and ask himself, what can I control in this situation? This simple question helped him refocus on what mattered and let go of what didn't. Gradually, Daniel's mindset began to shift. He stopped worrying so much about what others thought of him and started focusing on doing his best in each situation. He set clearer boundaries at work, learning to say no to unnecessary tasks that didn't align with his goals. By focusing on what he could control, Daniel not only became more effective at work, but also started to feel more at peace in his personal life. Over time, his health improved as he made time for exercise and proper sleep. His relationships with his friends and family also deepened because he was more present and engaged with them. Most importantly, Daniel found that he no longer felt the constant pressure to prove himself. He had let go of the need for external validation and had learned to trust in his own efforts and values. Daniel's journey is a powerful example of how applying Stoic principles in daily life can lead to profound changes in both mindset and well-being. By focusing on what we can control, our actions, our thoughts, and our responses, we can free ourselves from the endless cycle of worry and anxiety. Daniel's story shows that you don't need to be a philosopher or a public figure to benefit from Stoicism. Its teachings are practical and accessible to anyone who is willing to embrace them. In this video, we explored 7 profound Stoic quotes that can help you shift your mindset for the better. From Marcus Aurelius to Seneca, these ancient philosophers offer timeless wisdom that's more relevant than ever. The common thread in all these quotes is the power to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions. By integrating these Stoic principles into your life, you can cultivate resilience, clarity, and inner peace, no matter what challenges come your way. Whether you're struggling with stress at work, relationship difficulties, or personal doubts, Stoicism provides a framework for navigating these challenges with grace and composure. The Stoics remind us that life is unpredictable and full of uncertainties, but our power lies in how we choose to respond. By shifting your focus from external circumstances to your internal mindset, you regain control over your own happiness and well-being. Remember, the key to a more peaceful and fulfilling life is not in trying to control everything around you, but in learning to master your own mind. Now it's your turn. Which Stoic quote resonated with you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's discuss how we can apply Stoicism to everyday life. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe for more content on personal development and Stoic philosophy. Let's continue this journey together, and remember, your mindset is your greatest power.